Hello, how are you? So today is 41 degrees in Sydney. It's like Friday, 19th of December. And the forecast said that it feels like 45. I did not even bother to go outside at all. I just stayed in, closed all my blinds, and just turned on the fans, and that's what I did. Right now it's about 6:30ish. It's okay. It doesn't feel 40, so maybe around 30 is something, and it's raining or it's going to rain heavily. Right now it's still drizzling, and I can see like the clouds delivering rain on the northern side of my view right now. And that's the report for the weather. If you don't know, Australia, well, I don't know about the rest of Australia, but I quite enjoy talking about the weather because the weather determines how my body would operate on that day. A very good spring autumn day around 20 degrees, 22 degrees, I would be very happy. I would be a very jolly person on that day because it would give my body a signal that everything is well in the world. A 45 degrees weather, it's the other way around. I don't even have to step outside. I knew straight away it's gonna be hot because my body woke up really early because it was already 30 degrees at 9 a.m. and my head already knows how hot it is. It gets a migraine straight away because it's hot. For some reason, my body is heavily connected to earth. So even if I am inside, I don't know, 18 degrees room, like temperature room, if it's 45 degrees outside, my body would react accordingly. It would react as if that it is being burned by a 45 degrees Celsius weather. I'm not sure how that it works, but for some reason it works. There is an invisible remote control between the earth and my body. I don't even, does that even make sense? Anyway, so yesterday I did leave the apartment for a little bit. I didn't know that today was going to be 41 degrees, so I think maybe it was instinct in some way. Also, I had like a bit of a scare. I got a trauma loop triggered on um in the morning yesterday. Can you see, like, every time I have like a trauma or a very difficult thing to say, my body just stopped. It doesn't want to say anything. It's just like so much force against it. Um, and I went into like icy mode. Like my whole body felt icy. My core stomach felt icy. My limbs were very weak. It couldn't, it just felt as if that suddenly it stopped to function. It doesn't have any resemblance of limbs. So it just felt icy all over, especially in my gut abdomen area. And this is a very typical response for my body. My body is fawn and freeze are the two main response. It's not fight and flight. Um, and I thought I was going to be in bed for the whole day, but I remember like watching TikTok or something. Like I know, like I do EMDR. That's like my go-to trauma calming technique and procedures. But on one TikTok video, I saw this girl basically telling like an extra tool that I never knew, which was like putting your hands under your armpit and then hug yourself. So what I tried to do was just putting both hands under my armpit and hug myself really fast or really tightly like this. And I noticed when I do that, um, my breath would be transition straight away into a deep breathing process. So as soon as I do that, and then I do that, and then I press down, my body would take a deep breath almost naturally, and I just held on to that for like 20 minutes or so, and I I found out that I could move, my body could move, which is very much an improvement because about 2 3 months ago, it probably took me a whole 2 weeks before I could finally get some kind of function going on, like back outside, like my necessity. And it was maybe 2 3 weeks before I became like normal again, sort of. um, and so a day was pretty good for me yesterday, so I decided to take myself out and walk around the city. And I do find myself already feeling very displaced in the world, and I feel like I see a lot of older female on in around when I walk outside, right? And I think for a lot of people, there are these invisible people. But for me, I see a potential future. I feel like myself, like this future self, am I going to be like these people? Like I can see like my future self basically not having any hair whatsoever and having like very thin hair, as if like those people who have alopecia. Because right now I'm collecting hair from my bathroom on a daily rate at an alarming level, and every time I comb my hair, it would come off very badly. And I know like I have Hashimoto, which is an autoimmune condition, and it basically attacked my thyroid, which is caused like hypothyroidism, and it would cause like hair loss. I know, I'm aware of that, and so I'm like, okay, it's not my fault, and I always remind myself every time I am scaring myself to death with losing hair that I need to eat more beef, I need to eat more iron, I need to eat more, basically, not less, because one of the reason why hypothyroidism can be very alarming for people is you're putting on a lot of weight, and I put on like 20 kilo, I think, since 2015, 2016, from 10 years ago. So I put on a lot, and my regular weight, even when I was healthy in my 20s, was around 52, 53 kilo. Now I'm around 67, 66. So that's an additional like 13, 14 kilo out of my normal 20s, my 20s weight. Um, I'm okay with this, I guess. I just want my belly to be less bloated, because it does look like, a bloated, like a gut, like a, maybe because my liver function is not doing well also, and I have probably gallbladder issues from like Hashimoto and everything. So there's that. Like that's just the way my body, my brain is rambling. There is no point in any of my videos if you're waiting for a point. As again, like this channel is not meant to be like this great, there is an agenda type of channel. It's not going to be that. um, if you enjoy it, you can support by liking and subscribing, and you can go down and to check like my coffee.com/Valerine if you want to support directly. But there is nothing fancy about this channel. It's just raw me talking. Maybe sometimes in the future when I feel like it, there'll become kind of format. But for now, this is it. If it evolves, it evolves. But if it doesn't, then this is the bare minimum, and that's what I'm giving. This is the only thing I'm capable of giving right now. Um, I still have no plans for next year, and it's weird because 19th of December now. In 2 days, it will be a week celebration. Not celebration, sorry. My apologies, sincerely. My a week of since the Bondi shooting, so it will be a week of mourning, and I feel like this week has passed really slowly. I don't know because of that specifically or because of something else, but it does feel like it is crawling at a very slow pace. They also have cancelled New Year celebration in Australia. So, well, in Sydney anyway. I don't know if it's the rest of Australia, because I think there is a scarce of potential threats, like other BOMB-ing threat, and or something, there is a potential something threat. And it hasn't even been a week, but it does feel like for a long time. I couldn't manage to get myself to go to Bondi Beach, to be honest. I'm not sure why, because last year when it was Bondi Junction, I did manage to go, and I think it is in one of the vlogs. Um, so I, went around and paid my tribute, gave like, a minute silence, pay my respect, but I couldn't really manage it this time. I feel disingenuous if I do go to some extent. I'm not really sure why. I feel like I'm just having very difficult time going there. I have had plans. I've had in my head like plans to go to there to Bondi Beach and to pay my respect, but I just couldn't get myself to it because I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing. But up until a few years ago, I actually had a habit of going to Bondi Beach before the year is out. For some reason, it's kind of like a tribute or pilgrimage. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Pilgrimage. That kind of like the yearly travel that you go to a specific place to kind of ritualize a journey coming to end, that kind of things, because I used to live in Bondi Junction, and up until a certain point like 2012 20, yeah, up until like I was also going there between 2010 2012 probably, when I was still employed, to go swimming at Bondi Beach and in the iceberg pool every week so that I could manage to learn how to swim. So, and after that year, a few years after that, I still go before the end of the year is out. Like in December, around this time of the year, I would go at least once to swim to kind of like say goodbye for the year. And for some reason, like Bondi Beach is the place where I kind of say my, I don't know, kind of just like mark a little bit of boundaries between now and before and after type of thing. Maybe because I've been there when I was like 14, so I was young. So kind of marked in my brain as like, a place that you can go to and kind of console your soul and kind of calm your soul and cleanse your soul in a way. And maybe because of that, at least my past association with the place as a place of cleansing, a place of where I let go of the past and kind of welcome the future. Even after my mom passed away, I still went to like the weekly swimming routine, and it was also still a place of consolation over there. So maybe that place that I feel like in my brain as if the place of solace, the place of peace, the place of this place where I hold almost a bit of a sacred position or like status in my brain. I can't bear to go there and kind of mark it as a place of this tragedy that happens. It's as if that it has been tainted in some way. Now it's a place of where violence has taken place and where violence has taken lives, and that's a significant thing. But I do oh, it's raining. I do appreciate the fact that they did manage to call elders of First Nation people to do a little bit of cleansing, like ceremonial cleansing with the smokes and that. I think I saw on a article somewhere. So I'm glad that they did that, because I think prior to seeing that article in my brain, I kept saying they need to do a ceremonial cleansing in that place. They need to call a First Nation person, an elder, to conduct a cleansing on that place, because that place is very sacred. Not because for some reason I feel like it is sacred because it is a place where a lot of people associated with iconic Australianness. So there is a lot of energies being put into that particular place as this representation, or one of the representations of Australia. The other one being the Sydney Opera House. But if you think about it, the Sydney Opera House, I think only opened 1970. I think I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. 1970ish. So it's still new. Bondi Beach has been there for a long time prior to that. And I felt like when I saw the article that there had been a cleansing ceremony taking place, I felt a little bit of like relief in some way. And I know like a lot of people probably do not believe in those kind of things, but I feel there is a weight to it. There is definitely a substantial ceremonial weight to it. I feel like it would be a really good process to calm the souls, you know, which is funny in some way because I'm not sure why. Like, there's also other visuals, like, you know, Christian visuals. So there's a lot of, you know, a lot of Christians singing and stuff, and also Jewish visuals there. So a lot of Jewish prayers being conducted there. But for some reason, my brain really went to the First Nation ceremonial tradition rather than to the religious ceremonies that usually, you know, because like almost all religion have ceremonials for people who are have passed away. You know, this kind of ceremonies specifically designed to calm the dead and to calm the souls that has been departed. But for some reason, like I was raised and all the way through my schooling in Catholic, so I know there are ceremonies for that. There are sacraments for that. Um, so, but for some reason, I didn't even think to go into my religion side of my brain. I just went straight to like, oh, they need to do a ceremonies by First Nations in that place, which they did. So I was like also like weirded out by my own thought because that is a repetitive in my brain. It's repetitive. It's like they need to do the ceremony. They need to. It only stopped when I saw the article that they actually did the ceremonies by the First Nation, and I feel like they should do that more often. And I know that we do have these ceremonies by First Nations people in some kind of events usually, you know, like in our Olympics, for example. I'm pretty sure we have ceremonies by First Nations, but we don't really see it in this kind of scale of when there are tragedies happening in the, what is like the word for when it's not for religious base, civil, is it civil world? No, it's in a secular, in the secular world. I feel in the secular world we don't really see ceremonies being held too often outside the formalities. And I don't think this is part of formalities. This is not formalities, right? So I feel this should be part of our Australian traditions because this is a personal opinion, okay? This is a personal opinion. Because to some degree, the people of the land, so this is nothing political in a sense. In my brain, it's not political at all. In my brain, it's just like because the Aboriginal people, the First Nation people, are the guardian of this land, of this the land of Australia or whatever land that their ancestors have been guardian of, as in part of New South Wales, or in this case Sydney and Bondi. In my case, the Botany Bay area. Um, and with that held a spiritual duties and also spiritual powers. I feel because of hopefully this continual lineage consistently, like there is this blood that is basically non-broken from thousand years ago to the land. um oh my god, like you look, I am, all my hair on my body is raised. It held some kind of power, not over the land, but as a custodian of the land. And therefore, if some kind of negative or evil, I'm putting the word evil like in this case because the population would actually label this as evil, and we might still continue to label it as evil as we go on in the future, but you never know, it might change, right? Because history is not really fixed in place. It's always, the narrative is always going to be changing in the future. But because we're still like within a week, I think the narrative's not going to change anytime soon. So because it's labeled as evil, there is a very strong emotional energy being sent to that place, either as compassion, either as hatred, because of the anger that is attached to it. And that is a massive energy attached to a place and to the land itself. And I think unless you have that relationship with the land that basically um, traverse through um, thousands of years back in the land itself, I think the power to kind of cleanse or ask of the land to do what you want it to do, which is like, please don't hold this grudge and then let it seep into the land and make the land barren, type of thing. And kind of just asking for the land to release the negative energy that has happened in this place and kind of make it neutral and release any type of souls that were trapped in that land because of any kind of grudge that had happened. And I feel like for some reason my brain kind of relate that back to having the First Nation people conducting their ceremonies, cleansing ceremonies, as that asking of the land as respectful, because you want to see the land as a living being, not just this is where the place happened, this is where the tragedy happened. Because the fact that a lot of energy is being sent there kind of like activates that, either whatever, if it's not even alive back then, now it's alive because all this energy emotions being sent to that place is activating, or it makes anything that is not alive now alive. Because you can't have a massive amount of energy sent to a specific target without having any kind of effect on it. That's my explanation in my brain. Anyway, I'm not sure why I was discussing that, to be honest. I guess I just needed to for it to be unloaded. To be fair, I wasn't even thinking about this until right now. When I'm actually talking in front of you, I was like basically talking to AI about other things. It's mainly about insurances that, and it has nothing to do with my daily life either. So it was just more like a theories. It's like my brain, because I'm neurodivergent, and if I have like a fixed thing, like I'm on a fixed on something, I just have to dig into it. Even if it have to go round and round, I just have to dig and like dig and dig and dig until I satisfy my curiosity. So it's basically an obsession, is part of like, I think, the OCD part of being autistic and being obsessed with something. So I was obsessing about that for the past 2 3 days. So so I'm not sure where what I just basically said came from. It just came from spontaneously for some reason. But that's my logic when it comes to that, because I do have my political opinions in for that event, but I don't think it's the right time to say it because I think it can be quite inflammatory. Um, and for me, it's not important enough to for like, it's not something I hold strongly to be said out loud. It's just a passing opinion in my head. So I think I'm gonna just hold it back, because I'm just gonna hold back because I don't know what I hear a sound, something hit something, but I don't know what it is. Um Also, I'm being cheap. Look. Ta-da! So I have these green onions that I used up about like a few, maybe a week or two ago, and I didn't want to waste it, so I replanted it in a pot so that I just want to see how far it would actually grow. So hopefully it grows. I'm not gonna cut it. So just in case, if you cut it, sometimes it kind of says to the plant, "Oh, I don't want you anymore, but I do want it." So I'm just gonna let it be. I have been. Oh, it's my neighbor. That's why. Oh, it's 41 degrees today. So everyone's probably put put their washers out, put their washing out, their laundry out. So and now it's raining, so everyone probably rushing to get their laundry outside, inside again. I was actually thinking of doing the laundry outside, but what I have noticed is that if you dry your laundry inside at a 40, when it's 40 degrees outside, it actually still dries the same pace at the same time, at the same pace. So I already put my laundry inside in front of the fan, so it's not going to be missing out. Oh, I don't want to be outside. They're still here, so I don't know. I am whispering right now. I don't want them to look this way to think that I'm here and doing something. I don't want to say good hello to my neighbor. It's definitely, I'm hiding. I'm hiding. I'm hiding from the neighbor. It's raining outside anyway, so probably should get back inside. But I don't want them to look over the balcony and see me there. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want them to see me and like, oh, then I have to say hello and I have to give small talk. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm friendly outside when I'm on my outside clothes. That's fine. But I'm on my inside clothes. I don't want to do that. I don't know if that makes sense. Like when I'm at home, I don't want to deal with anything that is outside the home. It's raining, by the way, so it's probably good um, that I actually went inside. Just gotta watch because when it's 40 degrees and it's raining, you know what that means? Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm. And I kind of like watching thunderstorm. Although I'm scared, but I'm also kind of okay with it. I'm just playing with a tripod. So, oh, it's in, it's outside. It's in the living room for laundry purposes. I'm drying it out. Also, I always feel very insecure for my armpit because it's always dark and pigmented. So I always feel like it's not worthy of being seen. That's why I almost never wear a singlet outside. For some reason, I don't have any qualm whatsoever demonstrating it to you, though, or showing it to you. Even my face, like outside, about 70% of the time, I would definitely cover my face. But for some reason, I don't have the desire to do that on camera. It's like maybe because on camera, you can always go like, ew, your face is disgusting. You can, and then you can just not watch it, right? You have that option. I don't have that option in real life. It's like, ew, your face is disgusting. Please go away. It's like that really be rude. Um, Also, my sleep have been very bad lately, and also days have been rolling past without notice. It's like, right, days are kind of clumping itself together now, and it's very concerning for me because we are gonna head. I thought like this month will end very quickly, and then the Bondi shooting happens, and when that happened, I think it slows down the whole timeline altogether. Now, like every day feels a bit longer, not because, well, it's still, I don't know how to explain this properly. I feel like the speed of its passing has slowed down significantly compared to last week, even though at the same time I still feel it's passing very quickly because every day is jumbled into one in my brain. So personally, I'm experiencing both. I'm experiencing the lagginess of time because of what happened almost last week, but personally, I also still feel that the days are just merging together and I'm losing track of time. And it's really bad because I really do need to get something done, but my brain is not allowing me to more now. Um, like 2 days ago, I wasn't aware how deep I was into this particular thing that I saw the time was 6:30 in the afternoon that I was still in bed. I'm awake usually between 8 to 10. If it's in winter time, it's usually around 7:30 ish to 9:30 ish. So if it's colder, I would wake up earlier. If it's hotter, I would wake up later. I go to sleep around 3 o'clock usually, so it's not like I slept for a whole 24 hours. I usually sleep normal hours like 5 to 7 hours is probably normal, but most often probably about 5 to 6 hours sleep time, right? So that's the amount of time that I actually sleep, but my body doesn't really function much, so it just stays in bed for a long time. And when I stays in bed, I do all my what I needed to do, like either browse emails or try to find some way to make money online from bed and stuff. So I reply everything if I have important things to do. So unless I have a specific appointment or a specific thing that it requires me to get out of bed, in most cases I would just allow my body to stay in bed as long as it needs to, because like if I'm outside, if when I get out of the bed, I will usually just move myself to the couch anyway, so it's not really much difference. The only difference is that when I'm in bed, I'm actually just playing with my phone, or like I'm operating from my phone, because it's a bit difficult right now in 2025 to say that I mostly just play around with my phone, because my phone is basically how I make money, albeit a very, very, very little amount of money. Um, but that's where I recorded my vlogs, my edit my vlogs. In the past, it's also how I would. Sometimes I used it to upload my assets online in the past, not now. But it's where also I do all my emails and also my because I upload everything to the cloud system. So I have everything documents from the past, usually in general in the clouds already on the internet. So if I need something, I just pull it out of there and it's on my phone. Everything is just on my phone. My game is on my phone. My music is on my phone. All the files that usually I need is on my because like my laptop is basically useless and I don't have the money to buy a new laptop, and I don't know if I want to buy a new laptop because it's become obsolete very quickly, like in 2, 3, 4 years. And now, as I'm in my 40s, 4 years is a very short period. When I was in my 20s, 4 years is a very long time. I remember, like back then, I had this friend who was 38 years. Oh my god, so young now, thinking about it. And I was like 21 years. And She basically had this laptop for 5 years and it was still operating very well. And I was so confused because how is a 5 year old laptop operating very well? She took care of it very well. And I realized like when you get older, they only use your laptop for on like only for work, for any kind of or and then at that time study. But when I was 21, laptop was my phone, which meant it was used for everything, for your work, for your play, for everything, right? For your communication. So it basically worn off very quickly. But no, I understood. This laptop that I had is from 2018, so it's almost like 7 years. But it was only operational maybe for about 2, 3 years. So I haven't really touched it for about the past 5 years or so. No, for the past maybe 2022, 2021. So 3, 4 years because yeah, and now it's basically just a browsing laptop. I just use it for browsing because it can't be used for anything else. I can't use it to video edit because it would just lag like crazy. It would just lag like it would just freeze and it just doesn't work and then crashes. So I can't even use it for that. So what else? Hang on. I can't buy a laptop that I can use for graphic because it would cost me about 2 grand at least. Just a very basic function to do graphic and video editing. And I don't have 2 grand to do that. Why would I do 2 grand to do that? And I don't think I have the talent to make a vlog very attractive because you actually need to require a lot of stamina to do that. You need to slow down a lot. I'm much more concerned in output. I'm much more concerned in producing something than nothing. And I know technically, to be honest, if you guys have been listening up until this long, you know there is no point to these videos. It's just me rambling because I need to exercise my voice because usually I'll probably don't really talk much in real life. And even if I join my usual social clubs, in a group setting, I don't say much. I probably say tops like 20 words to them, laugh a little bit, mention something a little bit, joked a little bit, and then, just basically keep crocheting or knitting because the purpose is not to talk. The purpose is just to be around other people when I go into those spaces. So it's very different. It's raining now, so it's actually pretty good that the neighbor pushed me inside. um, I don't know what I want to talk about. My skin hasn't gotten better. I basically bought this sample sizes from Muji, and it's like the deep moisturizer. So it's like the thickest of the thickest of the thickest because they have like light deep moisturizer, medium deep moisturizer, heavy deep moisturizer. I bought the heavy one. I think like there are about 3 sizes, and it's basically like deep moisturizers. And so I bought like the deep one. I know it basically goes against the current stand on like acne prone skin to hydrate it rather than to dry it out, because usually if you have acne prone like me, it means like you have oily skin. So usually they would go against the other way. They would go and dry it out, so like something that is non-comedogenic. But feel better when I am hydrating my skin so much. And I feel like my skin likes it more if I hydrate it a lot as well. So I'm going against the current. I am hydrating rather than dehydrating it. I don't know how it will unfold. Let us see. I'm also having a lot of balding scares the past few years, and I feel like the balding scares has increased dramatically in my head, and it's becoming a manifestation to some degree. Like it's so thinning out here, like there is no much hair here, and I can see it, and I'm scared. I feel like I'm gonna become one of those ladies outside that I'm scared to be one of. And I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna be one of those people who are like, when people see, oh, don't go near her, she has mental issues. I feel like that, to be honest. And the bad thing is for me, right, when they say that and I could overhear it in the future, I'll probably be laughing. And that would not help my cause at all. Why? Because I'll be laughing because I would be remembering this event right now, this particular moment in time where I actually predicted it. So I would be laughing then because I would say to myself, see, I was correct. And that would not help my case at all. I don't know what's going to happen in 2026. It just feels like to hope feels very cruel to my psyche. And I don't want to be cruel to my psyche because to hope means to go against data for the past few decades of my life of how difficult life is and how things don't get better. So if I hope that things will get better next year, I'm turning 42 next year, that will go against my 42 years of life experiences where things, if things get better, it will just get better once, and then it's going to keep going worse and worse and worse after that. Keep going better doesn't go like this, and it just keeps going upwards. It's just going dong, and then it goes phew, and then if it does go better in the very deep part of your life when it just free fall plunges, boom, and then it gets better, it would just go like tip, and then you just keep going downwards. So like the get better peak cannot be trusted in my psyche. I know that's a very sad thing to be holding as a belief for sure, especially as someone who has been part of the, the self-help movement, the positive psychology movement. Now if someone says it's going to get better, I'm going to label it as toxic positivity, because in my brain, like, if you give it that to me, it just be really cruel because it's going against my lived in experience. And even when I tried my best to held on to believe that, it will get better, everything is for a reason, like all my life is, is now wasted, like, help is going to be on the way and fortune is going to come and stay and grow. That's what I wanted to convince myself, up till now in my life, and nothing has proven for it to be otherwise. So I feel like it's cruel to keep expecting something that is against what's actually being lived as part of your reality. Basically I don't want to gaslight myself anymore. That's basically what I want to try to not do. Not gaslight myself. I don't want to do that. I want to just say what it is. Like right now, I don't have any hope for the future. It sounds really bad, but not in like in a doom. It is actually no. It is a doom and gloom position, but not in like I want to just exit my life. Kind of, but I don't particularly have that strong desire at the moment. Mainly, maybe because of the Bondi shooting as well. Like my, so I don't have that. So I'm just like floating in the existence. I'm just existing, and that's where I am. I'm just existing, and I'm not going into that dark space at now because a lot of people are in that dark spaces. Um, but I'm also not too depressed about life in general. Usually, when things like this happens, there is a good period of cleansing that happens afterwards. Um, okay, this is a pure opinion, so please don't take this too heavily. The loss of life, especially near an ocean, could be perceived as an offering for the gods in some ways. So a lot of positives come would probably come out of this tragedy. And it is a tragedy, and it's definitely an act of negative energy, in this case what we would call evil to some extent, and the amount and the emotional energy amount being put into that location area will impact. I guess what I'm trying to say, like, there's a lot of spiritual elements happening of what had happened in Bondi shootings, including the religious part of it as well, because I think Jewish. I saw like a video about it. Like Jewish was saying, like only Islamites have the same spiritual power as Judaism, as Jewish, because Jewish people, because they have, in my opinion, I think it's because of the incantation that they do a lot, right? Because except for, well, Buddhism also have a lot of incantations. So I don't know how that. But anyway, that's what the Jewish person said on a TikTok video. And I believe that because they're quite similar to some extent, because there's a lot of ritualistic procedures happening. Even the kosher to some degree is probably very quite similar to halal procedures in some way. I know like the way in the kosher way is like there's a separation between what could be used for certain animals and whatnot, and there's also a very specific procedures for how to kill or slaughter animals from the blood drains. I know, like in the Muslim community, in the halal procedure, the way they slaughter animals is usually the animal should not suffer. One should not know that their death is coming, so they could not perceive that death is coming, and it has to be done by someone who is an expert. And when it's done, it has to be used like a very sharp tool to cut the artery, so between here to there, and the animal should not see the knife coming or the tool or the weapon coming, so it will just not suffer pain. It will lose consciousness because as the blood drains, it just loses consciousness. And that is the way slaughter is handled in the halal way, which is very different, I think, in I don't know how the kosher, how to slaughter animals so that it makes it kosher, but I think there's something similar attached to that procedure as well. I don't know. I think you have to bring the blood, like it has to be out from the animal bodies before it can be cut, I think. But that's just memories, fragments of memories from other moments in life that I can't really recall whether it's a fact or whether it's just anecdotes. Um, so they have like similar ritualistic things like that, and also there is a power in billions and billions of people are reciting the same incantations, right? So there is that too, that power of numbers. Um, and the more you believe, also the more power is attached. Power in general is just the emotion part of it, and also the belief system that goes into that emotions. So because it happens in an ocean, Pacific Ocean, I think it is Pacific, right? Yeah, Pacific Ocean. I think so. So bad. And it's a really wide body of ocean. Bondi Beach is about 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer is at least At least the distance between the North Bondi and South Bondi is around 1K. And so there's a lot of ocean energy attached to that place. And if you go around the corner, uh, from Bondi Beach, which is just like if you go outside Bondi Beach and then you go over there, there's a place called Voclis, and there's a lot of people that jumped and committed suicide over there. It's not a funny business, but I just saying that it's a place where it's not foreign for a place. It's not a place foreign for death. And I feel like with this tragedy, it will release a lot of energy out. There's some kind of transformation that is going to happen and stuff. So I don't know. I think talking about it beyond this probably will incite a lot of religious stuff. But I do feel like Bondi is a sacred place outside, which is very ironic because Bondi itself is a transient place, meaning like there's not a lot of local people living there. And the people who live there locally probably have been there for like decades and is growing out, right? Because most of the young people there probably, like most young family, probably, unless you're very well off, probably can't afford to live there because the of living in around Bondi area is high. It costs about $700 per week, probably only for one room, and not like for the whole apartment, for one room. So it is a very transient place. So a lot of backpackers and stuff. So to say that it's a very sacred place when the place itself right now is transient, is not filled with people who have lived there for like thousands and thousands of years, and therefore it's an ancient place where you only go there to pray and stuff. It's very ironic in a lot of ways. Remember, this is an opinion only, but I feel like I need to kind of look past that and think about the place as an entity in itself. Like the transientness of Bondi is probably only what the past 200 years since the settlement of Australia here. So maybe what, 1780, so maybe 900. So maybe in the past 240 years, so 2.5 centuries, the place itself already been there for a very long time before that. I'm sure like it has been there thousands and thousands of years before the occupations of British colony came to Australia, right? So I'm considering that aspect of when I say it's a sacred place for some reason. And maybe it's something like in my brain that is tapping into the collective consciousness, or at least the consciousness of the local area, because the local area, the land is alive. um because earth is alive. How do you know earth is alive? Because we are alive, and everything that we have as part of our body is a component of earth, you know. That's how our bodies are made, and that's why when you die, your soul cannot take your body to heaven. Your body goes back to earth. That's why it's alive, because we are alive. Our body is alive, and it has a consciousness. It can be, the consciousness can hold the body, and therefore a consciousness can also hold the earth. And we just can't see it because we're in it. It's like our cells, our red cells, in our bodies probably have its own consciousness that the red cells don't even know. Like the red cells in our body probably doesn't even know that we exist and that we are a consciousness of itself. It probably thinks that it's just living between, I don't know, transiting between our um, lungs to our kidney. That's probably like its local area, and it doesn't know that it's being held inside this body, in this flesh suit of a body. And because like red blood cells only operates between like maybe about 1 month and a half, I think, or maybe 90 days at most. That's the life cycle, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken, but there's a very short period of its life cycle if it's not being replaced. Like, if you go exercise, you're basically replacing and killing your red blood cells faster, which means like which means that you are actually making your body more youthful because you are replacing it at a faster rate. But if you don't do that, like, it will kind of stays in your blood cells for maybe about 90 days, I think. Maybe 1.5 months. I don't know. I forgot like the exact period, but it will get replaced, and it has like a life cycle, and that's important because if the cells in your body don't die and don't follow that self death, it becomes cancer. That's what cancer is. Cancer is means like the cells doesn't operate in doesn't obey the death command of the cells, and then it just becomes zombies. It just keeps on living. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I digressed. So, based on this particular aspect of my theory behind all of that, is that uh, Bondi itself has been there for a long period of time, right? Longer than we exist as a modern people. And the body of water also been there for longer than we know. 1,000 years is probably not that long for it. It probably has been there for tens of thousands and for hundreds of thousands of years because it's an ocean, it's a body of water. So it's not only land, it's like a body of water, right? So, and it's huge, and there's a power in it. You could feel it, like the power of the ocean when you go to Bondi Beach, especially when the waves comes and it crashes, right? So it's different when you go to different part of Australia, and you see the difference for sure. Like, I went to Europe and I went to Nice, France, which is like Côte d'Azur, Côte d'Azur, Azur. I'm so dumb. Like, there is that area, and you can feel the difference between that and Bondi Beach. Like in Nice, France, the beach is it doesn't feel like the power doesn't feel the same. I know that sounds so abstract and so like, what? What do you mean? The strength of the place wasn't the same. I guess it's a very subjective opinion, but that's my opinion in my case. That said, I don't really go there often these days because I don't really feel attachment as much to that place anymore, as not like I used to when I was younger. Now as a 40 something year old, even like in my late 30s, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't particularly have that much sentiment anymore to Bondi Beach as I used to when I was younger. But it is still a powerful place spiritually, I think. And so I do see Bondi, like the beach, the water part of Bondi at least, to be a powerful spiritual entity. And with this tragedy, I feel like, let's say, like an ocean is a mother figure, right? A spiritual mother figure. I feel like the mother will turn this sacrifice into something good, into something that would be greater than the amount of loss that has been experienced to some degree. And I don't feel this is a belief. I feel almost like it's not a fact, but like a spiritual transaction that just happened to balance the losses and the intensity of the losses as well. It's like the spiritual ledger needs to be balanced, and it will be balanced. So this extreme tragedy, at least from the point of view of Australian anyway, as an Australian, we are still very much a small community, maybe 30 million people max. I don't know what is the population of Australia right now actually. Last time I heard it was 25 millions. When I was in uni, it was like about 20 million. So maybe now it's about maybe close to 30 million. Um it's still very small because like the populations of a small Chinese The population of a small Chinese city in China is about maybe 40 million. That's just like a small Chinese city, like a tier 4 or a tier 5. So like Beijing and Shanghai will be tier 1, and then that would go down. So tier 4 is like very low on the whole modern and all infrastructure, like, like village area. That's a 40 million. That's a small city in China, I think. And we're not even a small city in China. We don't even hit that number. Um, but I think because of the smallness of our community in the global scale, I think our power is actually stronger spiritually because it's more targeted, and because we are an island, and also oh, it's really raining bad now. It's the wind is back, and it's actually breezy. It's good. It's not hot anymore, but the rain is getting bigger. So yeah, so even though it's small, it's targeted, the weight of our thoughts is probably stronger because we're an island. So our energy to some extent is contained and is not easily leached out to the neighboring countries because we have oceans in between each countries, like Indonesia and New Zealand, they have an ocean in between us. um that also would cause an energetic protection to some degree. um I do feel like I am supporting this particular theory that I just said, mainly because I remember like I was going to when I was in Europe when I was still grieving, and we were traveling between Italy to Czech Republic, I think, and I was basically like sleeping or trying to nap on the bus, and I could remember going from relaxing to suddenly become so alert and like becoming quite anxious for no apparent reason. And that's when I realized we just crossed the border between Italy to Czech Republic. So as soon as I was in Czech Republic, the energy in Czech Republic was one of fear, was one of um, anxiousness, was one of very like kind of like scared. Like it wasn't like that when we were. I didn't even know what was happening. I didn't even know we passed the border because in Europe the borders are quite invisible. There is no checkpoints in between the Schengen area, so you can just pass the borders whenever you like. So, and we were doing it by road, so there was no checkpoints at this particular area, I think. And that's when I was like, what happened? Like, why am I suddenly feeling so anxious? And it wasn't even until like 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes after that experience, the tour guide was basically saying, "Oh, all right, everyone, we are in Czech Republic right now. We just crossed the border," and that's when I realized, okay, so different region have very different energy trademark, and even when it is landlocked, meaning like it's land, the border is on the land side, when you cross that borders between the people who live there, the consciousness changed, the consciousness shifted, the energy also shifted, because the energy of the region is created by the people of the region, right? And the people who lived on the Italian side probably would have a very different mindset and different way of living and different way of thinking, even though there are like, even if they both lived in the borders, for example, they are governed by different rules. So there is also that, right? The even though they'll probably be neighbors, if they live both are on the borders areas and they can crisscross like easily, still people who are living in Italy and was born in Italy and raised in Italy, educated in Italy, pay their taxes to Italy, would have a very different way of life and different mindset and different energetical point than people who were raised and educated and lived and indoctrinated in the Czech Republic. And I think that was like very vague memory, but it's a very significant memory for me to have because I wasn't doing anything. I was just napping and trying to sleep. But my body registered the differences in the energy, and my body, and in a very significant way, right? Like I was fine, and then suddenly I wasn't fine. And then my only thought was like, oh wait, did we just cross the border? And then I was confirmed by the tour guide, oh yeah, we just crossed the border. Like the tour guide was just announcing to the whole bus, right? It wasn't announcing to me only. But that was like my first, not my first, but I guess like that's just one of a memory that I have in my brain that basically kind of confirmed to me that I can sense energy pretty well. Like the spiritual world is not as mysterious to me as it is to other people, as it maybe because especially now as an adult, I don't put it on a pedestal anymore. Like spirituality is not a mystery in some ways, because if it's a mystery, it will still going to be a mystery. It's not going to be told to me. I'm not going to know it. So when it comes to me, that means like I meant to know it. Therefore, it's no longer a mystery. And when I know it, that means it's not going to be something that is dark or something that is scary, because I know if I know, that means like it's not scary anyway. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, going back to that argument, so that's my theory anyway. So there's going to be a lot of releases happening in that region. Like it's a lot of spiritual cooking happening right now in Bondi Beach, in Bondi waters, basically in the Pacific Oceans, in that area, and it's a transformational thing that is happening. There's a lot of spirits working on that area, and it's going to be. I don't know. I don't know what the future is hold. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a reader. I'm not a future reader. I don't predict the future at all. I'm just reading the energy as it is now. And yeah, I think that place is going to be transformed a lot. I do have my opinion politically, but I don't. I'm definitely going to reserve it for maybe, I don't know, maybe a year from now if I still can remember, because I don't think it will be taken well. But it is neutral from my point of view, but I don't think it's the right time. See, as me as a neurodivergent autistic person feel like this is an improvement on my part, because right now I'm recognizing nuance. I'm recognizing this is not the right time to state my objective opinion. Maybe Gen Z would not agree with me. Maybe Gen Z would be like, this is the exact time where you should actually write your opinion. I'm a millennial though. I'm softy. I don't know how us millennials survive, to be honest. We are such a pushover generations. We take a beating from the above generation, we take a beating from the below generations. I think that's why a bunch of us probably don't want kids. It's like we take enough beatings from up and below. We just want to die peacefully, thank you. But yeah, I am thinking lately of not too much, not obsessively, just lightly and on the surface of going back to doing spiritual energy reading, or maybe I don't want to do tarot reading because it's quite heavy on me, to be honest, doing tarot reading. But it should be easier because you actually have a visual cue, a visual tool to help you with the reading. But I prefer not. I don't know. I don't know how to I don't know how to market it, or like spiritual consulting, spiritual reading, spiritual, not spiritual coaching. It's definitely not spiritual coaching. I'm probably just gonna read their energy and see and waffle whatever it is that I thought would get. And the problem is with the spiritual readings or like psychic reading. It's not a psychic reading. I'm not a psychic, um, is that you can't predict the future. You can predict the future based on the current energy now. But tomorrow, if your energy changes tomorrow, your future is changing tomorrow. So there is no right way to predict the future, because you can only trace the threat of the future using your energy now, right? but that energy from the now period is going to keep changing. Like even 10 seconds from now, your now energy imprint is going to be different than 10 seconds ago. So your future is going to be very different 10 seconds ago than 10 seconds in the future. So there is no point of reading the energy of the future unless your energy point is not going to change, which is impossible. Your energy change will always going to change. And this is why I guess in the spiritual world, the word commitment is a very important thing because it means you have to keep choosing the same thing over and over again. And in the manifestation world, in a lot of literatures, that's exactly how you would get a manifestation. It's just that you just have to keep confirming that you're choosing the same thing over and over again, and then that's how you manifest because you just want to keep choosing the same thing so that the future is the same. And that's how you close the gap between the now and the future and the manifestation point. You just keep choosing the same thing. I'm not good at it. I'm never really good at it. I don't know how to do it. For some reason, maybe I haven't really chosen the right thing over and over again. Therefore, my manifestation asking or prayer about money, about having $5 million in my bank account, or having like $100 million in my bank account, and I just can rest and not do anything so that I can just recover my nervous system, is going to be granted. Probably for the past 20 years, never been granted. So I don't know how to manifest that actually. But I did like do a tarot reading consultancy bit for about 2 months, I think in 2010, like around December area. Actually, yes, around December 29 and New Year 2010. So between November to February, probably about 2 3 months during that period. So 14 years ago. Um, no, 15 years ago, was it? No, 15? 16 years ago. Wow, 16 years ago. 16 years ago. Yeah, 2025 to not 2009 and 2010 to 2026 is 16 years ago. I did that and I got freaked out because I remember one person kept referring their friends to me to do reading, and I'm like, "Oh no, this is scary. I can't promise them what I'm saying is true and what my prediction is true." So I got scared and I and I went back to law school. And after that I went to and then I got a job at a accounting firm. I go from the esoteric back to the groundedness of reality, law, and accounting numbers. um, but yeah, I'm pretty good at both. I'm pretty good at the esoteric, and also I'm pretty good at numbers and logic. So I guess that's always a battle inside of my brain trying to reconcile the two. Reconcile between the spiritual world, the spiritual realm, with the practicalness of the world. And my nervous system is not strong enough or capable enough to handle both, apparently. Neither. But I guess I want to pursue, oh, no, I'm not going to pursue spirituality, but I feel like I want to speak as if what I'm saying when it comes to spiritual theories in my brain is meaning like it is what it is. It's not I'm advocating that it is true in the sense that you must believe me, but from the standpoint that at this time in my life, this is what I feel to be right. Is not necessarily true, but it is definitely what I feel to be right. Like this is what I feel I know right now. This is how it feels and this is how what I feel it is. Like with the Bondi Shuni and the Bondi spiritual energy, that's what I'm talking about. It's more like that's what I am seeing, that's what I'm feeling. There is a lot of energy being rearranged in that place for sure. And subsequently in Australia as well, because it is an iconic place, but it is also a spiritual place when it comes to the geography of it and also the history of the place going back even further than the current Australian government positions or before the colony arrived in on this land, Australia, right? Uh, and also said in a last video that the shooting itself is not as surprising to me because we have had a lot of shootings happening in Sydney the past couple of years. So, and it's usually have something to do with guns, and so, and it has been escalating. So the signs are there, um, and it's not like a soft signs. There are hard data, and I think it's just because it's not on the east side of Sydney where people privileges are living. They will consider Sydney still as safe because to some degree there is a conceptions, of course, that the Western Sydney is where people that are poor, and that's where the crimes area is at. You know, that's the not factually, but that's the common prejudice, I suppose. So in a lot of ways, it's like, of course, that's where all the shootings need to happen, right? Because that's an allocated area of crime, and when it's happening, but it's not true. That's not facts. Just perceptions, because I don't know the facts because I need to see like the actual data of like where crimes occurred and everything. And you also don't account crimes that are committed but not reported or not have not gone through the whole process of the justice systems, right? Because crimes are not necessarily shootings. You can have a lot of uh, SAs that happened but just never been reported because maybe the people who are doing it aren't rich enough and powerful enough to suppress it. So that also is possibilities from a factual point of view that I'm talking about. I'm just waffling, guys, you know. But yeah, I am thinking of doing that. I'm not really sure how to do the spiritual reading and stuff. I don't want it to be like a reading. I want it to be more like a consulting type because I want to have a lot of questions. I want to kind of just ask them a lot of things. Usually that's what happens with me. Like I can read like the hits of their lives. When I was doing like tarot reading, it was very weird for me even because to some degree, some a lot of things kind of come out my own mouth that I don't even know where it came from. Like I remember this one lady, she just came in for fun, right? She just came in for fun, basically, and just to do reading, giggling and stuff, you know, just for fun. We're just passing through. And then in the reading, I basically told her, "Oh, I'm seeing a baby being handed to a older gentleman. Like he has this, blah blah blah, and like I think the baby is a son, oh blah 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 and stuff." And then this is probably not the actual facts of what I've seen, but it's similar to that, like something to do with a man, a baby being handed over. And then I think that's when all her giggling stopped, and she goes, "Yeah, um." I don't remember what she said. She said maybe it's something. It's just something that she confirmed of what had happened in her life and in what had happened, and you know, so she was pretty surprised because she suddenly became serious, and I'm like so surprised too. I'm like I didn't know where it came from. Please don't tell don't look at don't look at me that way. Um, when I was really young, I was like 24 probably, so I wasn't really. I didn't have that stability in my bearings. I don't think I have it now even, but you know, I'm checking my battery. I've got 34% battery. I know it's a bit long that we have going on right now, but is that okay? Is that okay to be long? Oh my god, what is that? There's so many things happening right now. Also, this This channel hit 100 hours of watching. So thank you, people, for watching some of the videos. I really appreciate it. Maybe because I am posting this like an hour or something, so it's easier. If people like, if there are 100 views for 1 hour videos, that's 100 hours already. um yeah, so I don't know if there is people that is actually going to answer for spiritual consulting. I'm not even sure how to market it. But at least if I say spiritual consulting, I feel like I don't have the pressure to be accurate, because people have some kind of, like, how can you prove that spiritual consulting is a hot fact base? It isn't, right? And spiritual consulting also doesn't have any kind of religious connotations attached to it to some degree. I'm not going to perform any rituals. I'm just going to do, like, I'm just going to talk to you like a normal person, ask you a bunch of questions. And in my head, I'm probably just going to invite like whatever spiritual powers that I have and spiritual backings that I have. If they want to show up and help me with this reading and help me with this client, please do. And I will just do it. And yeah, and there's no kind of mysteriousness behind it. In my brain, my opinion is that I'm basically just sharing my right brain to your right brain and then to the collective consciousness brain, because I feel like the right brain is part of our connection to the rest. No, this is a left brain. Sorry, this is a right brain. The right brain is collective consciousness, to the collective consciousness, which means like it's just connected to the main motherboard, like to the main server of not Australia, but like collective humanness. So all the humans in on Earth is being attached from our right brain to the main server, which is a collective consciousness, which is like the main server on Earth. I'm laughing because I feel like I am stretching it. Am I stretching the analogy? Am I really stretching the analogy? But that's how I actually feel. Because I can feel sometimes when people are having an opinion about my work, either whatever it is that I put out there, either a sales listing or a writing or like a video, if they have an opinion about it and it's targeted at me, at like, at me, I usually would get tingles on my right brain, right hemisphere part of the brain. And that's when I know usually I'm either going to get a rude comment, or maybe sometimes I would get like a big sales. It also operates that way. So it's not like negative or positive. It's just like when someone is connecting with me and I don't know the person, usually it would it would trigger the right brain to tingle. So it's quite physical for me to experience. It's not, as I said before, right? Like I have like a remote control kind of Wi-Fi connection between me and the earth, and to that degree is the earth, which is contain all the people as well. And it's not a mysterious power. I think everyone has this. Every single person has this. The only difference is between you and me is that I have just stopped denying its existence, and I have also stopped doubting the fact that it does exist. And because I doubted it for my whole 20s, and I completely forgotten about it in my 30s because of my chronic illness and my um, journey to the underworld of starvation, being emaciated, not able to move my body, reliving traumas and all of that, just basically, ugh, just going through human experience in the darkest way possible that I could do, because I think there are other ways of living, the darkest way possible, through wars and all of those things. So I'm not saying what I was going through was the worst of possible scenarios for human being. No, just worse for me, um, of what I could have manifested. I definitely could be worse, but for me it was or bad enough. It's just also both on the psychological journey also of going through that journey of the underworld was also very difficult mentally and emotionally. And so for most of my 30s I kind of just forgotten about it. But now at 40 something, 42 almost, it doesn't really have the same weight as it did in my 20s. Having the spiritual knowing is no longer a burden to some degree. Like I don't have the doubts as I did in my 20s, because if it's true, then it's true. If it's not true, then whatever. I don't really care if it's not true. And I don't, maybe because I don't have the desire to be believed or to be accepted as much as I did when I was in my 20s. Now, if people accept me, that's fine. If people believe me, that's fine. If people don't believe me, that's okay too. If people don't feel like they are really against what I said, that's okay too. That's your business. You can just go out there and do whatever it is that you need to do. We don't need to be in my way. I don't need to be in your way. And we can just go our separate ways, like adults. And I think that only came from being an adult and also having gone through a lot of shits, and you just think, whatever. That's not like in my top priority of life where, oh, you have to believe me. I'm not a fake. Like, dude, seriously. So I guess like that part is gone. So maybe it's easier to. The only downside is that if I do spiritual consulting, is I actually have to talk to people. uh, uh, yeah. I basically was trying to find this file or this documents a few hours ago, and I had to dig really deep into my Gmail database, meaning like I have to dig like those emails from like years and years ago. And I was so triggered. I tried to avoid looking at it because who is this person who wrote all these emails? And I just felt so cringed and so like, oh my god, who is that person? Why is she so cringed? And I couldn't look at it. I just kind of skimmed through. I even narrowed my eyes when I was like scrolling and like until I found what I wanted. It just felt really icky. It does feel like when you are trying to sort something like in your physical world, and you're just trying not to see that pile over there that is like a pile that you did it, but you just don't want to see what mess you have done in that corner of the room. It's like that when I was sorting the emails. And it was a long time ago. It was like more than a decade ago. It's like early 2010s. So now we are already in mid 2020s. So it's a long time ago. It's a lifetime ago. But yeah, I guess we all changed. But anyway, that's my. I guess that's again my brain is saying maybe I need to do spiritual consulting because I had no intention of saying that today. I don't know. This particular video right now that I'm doing is very interesting because all of the things that I've said felt like I'm channeling today. I felt like I'm channeling. It's a very similar energy to when I was doing my tarot reading. When I'm channeling, there's a lot of that because I've been spending my time the past 2 3 days has nothing to do whatsoever with what I just talked about in this video. So it's coming out of nowhere from my brain anyway. Because I should have been talking about what I have been doing the past 2 3 days, right? Because it has nothing to do with whatever that I just talked about. Like today, I um, used my salsa jar, the one that people use for nachos, the salsa jar that they sell. I used that to make my green tea latte today. So I should have talked to you about that because that's what I did today. But no, I talked about other things and I have no idea why I talked about other things. So this is pretty similar experience to channeling. To some degree, I guess talking to a camera is a bit like channeling because you don't really know what's going to unfold in some way. The someone said that my nose is cute, which is very ironic because my face, except for my skin, the second bit that I don't like about my face is my nose. Why? The reason is money. Why did I say money? Because in physiognomy, I don't know physiognomy, the art of facial readings in Chinese, my my nose because it has like, it is not like, if you see from the profile, it's not all the way down. And if you see from the front, you can see my nostrils, which mean money will always going to um, leak out from my life. It's like a boat with a leak. So it doesn't matter how much you put in the boat, um, the water will leak out. So the money will leak out. So that's why I don't like my nose, because it basically saying that I can't have money because no matter how much money pouring in, it will always comes out. But anyway, whoever thinks that my nose is cute, thank you. It's just not my favorite part of my face. I don't have a favorite part of my face. I don't really like my face. I like my mind. I need to make money with my mind. I thought I could, but apparently I'm not that smart to make money from my mind. Which is something as an adult I have to accept that I'm not as good as I thought I would. But I don't know, it feels so weird. In this point exactly at time anyway. So today right now is at Friday, 19th of December, and 8 past 5. So it's 5 past 8 p.m. So 8 5. So 8 p.m. 5 minutes right now. That's the exact time of this particular recording in this particular video. I feel like a bit lucid, a bit sober. Maybe because I drank matcha and also had hojicha, so my brain is caffeinated. this is this is a caffeinated vlog. I just realized that's why this is like this. I found the reason why this vlog is the way it is, because it is a caffeinated vlog, which means I'm on drugs. Caffeine is a drug. Just because I say drug doesn't mean it's illicit drugs. Caffeine is a drug that I'm talking about. Okay, my body is extremely sensitive. Therefore, I can never be someone who abuse substances, because substances for me is like one scoop of matcha is a substance for me. If I drink a grande latte, like not decaffeinated, I would go for rant until maybe next week, because my caffeinated heart would be palpitating and beating nonstop until 4 days from now. I'll be like wide awake. Like maybe like when I'm on, I don't know. Like I know my body's hypersensitive to drugs, and that's why when I went to Amsterdam like 13 years ago, to the date, I guess. Okay, yeah, I was in Europe between September and November and December 2012. So right now it's 2025. So 13 years ago. No, no, I would have been back from, yeah, I was back by the 3rd of December, I think. So I would have been back here in this room 13 years ago. But I went to Amsterdam 13 years ago, and I decided not to take any kind of drugs whatsoever, because I was basically in a room, right? And then there were like all smoking joint and stuff, because it's legal in Amsterdam then. And I was just like secondhand smoke. And the next day, I couldn't move my limbs. I was just so lethargic. My body couldn't move. And that's only from like secondhand smoke of joints. Imagine if I actually dragged one, if I actually take one, I would not be able to function at all. I think my body, because I have Hashimoto, is already lethargic enough. So I don't think marijuana is actually the drugs for me. I think it is. I'm trying to find the right dosage for caffeine for me. So I think maybe just one tiny, like I could sleep if I have a tall Starbucks, or like that amount, because it would have like one decaffeinated espresso shot. But if I go to a grande, then I would have difficulty sleeping. But if I keep it on a tall, I realized that I could actually sleep that day. So the amount of the caffeine in the decaffeinated shots it's not going to be highly affecting me. But if I have like a grande, which is 2 shots of decaffeinated espresso, it would definitely affect me. My heart would palpitate. I would not be able to sleep until maybe 7 a.m. the next day. And I figured that out to this month. I think that tall is the size that I need to stay in to make sure I can still sleep in that day if I had one. Hey, I did warn you in the beginning that this vlog is about nothing. It has no purpose whatsoever. It's just about for me to rant. And if you want to listen to me rant, this is the channel to do it. Uh I don't have any plan for it, the main channel, my Valorant channel. I don't know what to do next year. I'll be the same thing until I figure out what I want to do. Usually it just happens organically, I think. I did like 2 shorts this week, yesterday and the 3 days ago as well. I don't know if I like the format or not, but it's because like the work is the same when I'm recording it, right? The only difference is the editing side of it. Because yesterday when I was doing the mini vlog, it was 13 about 13 minutes raw footage. So in a normal vlog, usually it would cut down into half, which is 6 minutes. But yesterday I cut it to under 2 minutes. So that's not a lot happening in 2 minutes. And I can't be bothered to actually write it out, so I would just put a voiceover. That's the only benefits for a shorts is that you can just have like a very quick sequence of footage, and then you just put a voiceover over it, so that people don't have to read what's on screen. It's a lot faster because they just have to look at the footage visually and then hear the narration. Which is normal vlog is different. Normal vlog, I do not have the power to talk for 20 minutes or an hour without losing my concentration. This is different because I am looking at the camera myself, and I can't really do that because in the normal vlog, the footage would feel, some ways have a lot of that day's energy. So whatever the energy is on that day, and then I would just put my thoughts into that footage for that vlog for that day. So it is kind of like a diary of the day, which is slice of life vlogs. It's definitely is that. So the in the normal vlogs, writing it is better because it is slower and it is not designed to for listening. I think that's what I found out anyway last year when I was doing the documentation for 2024 40th year vlog. If you want to watch that, the playlist is in the main vlog. They have like 200 episodes in there. So that, if you want to binge watch, please do that there. Um, so I guess it's something that I am finding out by trial and errors. It's like, oh, okay, the viewers prefer this format of a slower pace, with text, because the numbers say so. But like if I ask them directly, right, they would say, or you guys directly, they would say they love talking videos. But the people who are loud, opinion wise, saying the talking videos are very small in numbers as a watchers, as a viewers. That's why I move it here, because it's like extroverts. Extroverts are the people who like listening, like who actually like the audio. But introverts, which is me and the people that are more like me, the ones that actually like silent videos and reading. So the people who like silent videos and reading will not comment. And those are the main people that watch. And I guess I like to move that way. I like to see the data and the numbers better than the opinion of people. Even the opinion matters, but it's just like just because they're loud doesn't mean they're the majority voices. And that's something you also have to learn as you go on with life, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, it's getting darker and darker outside. Actually, it's already 8 o'clock past. I don't know, maybe it's 20 past 8, or no, it's not 20 past 8. It's probably only 10 past, 13 past 8, 14 past 8, 14 minutes past 8. But mm, the it's already getting darker. I was surprised actually when I saw the prediction for this for today to be 40 degrees or 37 degrees. I was like, wow, I did not expect that because yesterday was quite warm. Definitely not cold, but it was nice warm. It was a summer warm. It was nice because we have been having a lot of cold weather. It's like proper cold, like 20, 20, 19 degrees during summer, which is cold. So yesterday warmth was welcomed very much, but today is like 41 degrees Celsius, but it feels like 45. That's what the weather says. So it's like what halfway to 50 degrees Celsius. Crazy, crazy. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you if you're listening this far of my rant of nothingness. Of like, thank you very much. Remember, nothing on this particular video is serious. It's just me waffling and spending time and just talking. And don't take it too seriously. Please don't have any kind of intention to rouse a debate whatsoever. This is just an easy listening channel that I just use to offload my thoughts and offload my rambling requirement for the body, especially as a woman. Apparently, you do need to talk and use your voice box because that way you're basically managing your hormones and hopefully doesn't, go haywire. So I am using this as a medicinal purposes, to be honest. Anyway, I'll see you later. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. If you're watching for 1, 2 hours, what crazy! Thank you so much. Shall I click like and subscribe? It will help with the channel, I think. And even though I don't want to make this channel big by any means, I do want to make it monetized so I can make money out of it sometimes. And so that's probably the minimum amount of my ambition for the channel is to monetize it so that every single views, even if it's not much, at least you'll get AdSense money out of it. Anyway, thank you. Click like and subscribe. And also, if you want to support this channel directly, you can go to coffee.com/Valorine. It's all in the description link below. I'll see you later in the next video. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.